if you have a young child, how do you explain to your 4-year-old child what abduction is, what death is? Because this is something I had to explain to my child.
Yes.
Like I had to explain, he asked me, oh, he wants to play with his friends. Where's Aliyah? He's in Gaza. What is he doing there? He's been abducted. And he sees these posters. These posters everywhere in Israel.
Yes,
You know? They came in from 5 directions.
5 directions.
They came in from east, west, north, south, and from the air. And again, they were organized. Everyone had a responsibility. First, it was the storming squads, and then it was just regular infantry. You call it slaughter squads. This was not spontaneous.
Yes.
This was a planned military execution. Okay, this is important to understand.
Yes.
We realized this. It was a bit too late. This was a military operation.
Yes.
They had logistics, they had plans, they had training, they had intelligence. They knew exactly where the armory was. They knew where the command post was.
Yeah.
They knew where key figures of the community and the community leadership lived. Ophir Lipstein, he's also the mayor of original council of Negev. He was killed. He was the first to be killed. He knew where he lived. They targeted his house. So this is why we also didn't know what happened, because the people responsible for letting us know what happened, they were targeted first. So we're walking now towards the neighborhood, Dor Tza'ir, the young generation. This neighborhood is one of the places which was hit hardest by Hamas. Almost everyone inside the houses this morning, October 7th, was murdered or kidnapped. So for the first year after the attack, after October 7th, we lived in Shfaim, and there were families around us. So many bereaved families, so many families of hostages. And we could each, lean on each other in times of hardship, and this was so significant for us, so much more than we ever thought it would be. But in Shfaim, it was very temporary. Most of the people there were staying in hotel conditions. It's not suitable for a long time duration. You have no privacy, you have like a room, you can't cook your own meals, you can't really get back to life. So for this reason, the government built 2 neighborhoods in an adjacent kibbutz. It's called Kibbutz Ruchama. And this is where we've been staying for the past year. And hopefully, when Kfar Azza is ready to have us back, I pray that we'll be able to come back here.
Today, we have the profound privilege of hearing from 3 members of Kfar Azza, individuals who lived through the unimaginable on October 7th, 2023. Their stories are ones of courage, loss, and an unwavering hope for the future. Please welcome to the stage Keith Siegel, who endured 484 days in Hamas captivity and returned home with a mission to bring peace. Rona Epstein, who lost 5 beloved family members that day, yet remains deeply committed to Kfar Azza's future. And Gon Susana, a first responder who, with only a handgun and 15 bullets, stood between terrorists and his family. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Absolutely, you could take your seat. We're going to begin our education session this afternoon, and we have, it's just really an honor to be able to make the introductions for such an incredible panel. Not only this panel, but throughout the next hour or so, we have so many people that are going to come and speak, and they're going to have stories that you're going to want to hear. Very important information. So right now, if we could just kind of quiet down so we can hear. Yeah, there goes the shush sound again. All right, our room is quieting down. Very good. All right, it's my privilege to introduce to the stage Alon Federman. He's twice recognized by the Jerusalem Post as one of the 50 most influential Jewish figures and the director of the Kfar Azza Foundation. And he's going to be leading in the conversation with Keith Segal, who spent 484 days in Hamas captivity. Unimaginable. Gans Susanna, a young father who confronted terrorists while protecting his family, and Rona Epstein, a young woman who lost 5 members of her family that day, including her brother, Netta. So please join me in welcoming them to the stage, and let's pay careful attention to what they have to share.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to begin with a genuine thank you. Thank you for the invitation to be here. And as we mentioned last night, thank you for all of those who have been praying for almost 2.5 years now for the safety of the people and the communities attacked on October 7th. Especially thank you for those who have been praying for the safe return of our hostages, and specifically Keith Segal, who is here with us today. It's almost surreal to think that just a year ago, we were in Miami speaking at different conferences, talking about the 5 members of Kfar Azza that were still in captivity, and now we have the privilege of saying they're all back home and one of them being here with us today. So thank you, everyone. On the morning of October 7th, there were 300 out of 3,000 terrorists that attacked Kfar Azza. This is a community that has about 110 seniors. It has 180 young adults between the ages of 18 to 35, which is a huge feather in their cap. I don't know if you know this, but Kfar Azza is not the center of the country. And if you think about the importance of living in Israel and building strong communities in Israel, establishing a place like Kfar Azza is not something to take for granted. Even more so, having young people wanting to be a part of a community like that is not something to take for granted. And 180 young adults chose to be part of that community. And our mission, specifically this week, but also in general, is to help rebuild their homes. We are here to encourage every person to find a way to get involved and help rebuild homes. I would like to address my 3 friends here with 2 questions. I'm going to ask for your answers so people can get an understanding, a basic understanding of your thoughts and how you experience everything that has been going on since October 7th, and hopefully continue conversations when we get off stage. So I would like to ask, what is something that, or someone that you lost on October 7th and will never get back? You'll never have that back. But also something that you have discovered about yourselves since October 7th. Rona.
Okay, thank you, Alon. I would like to say that I'm very excited to be here on that floor. On that day, I have lost 5 members of my family, 2 of my dear uncles that fought bravely to protect the community, including Ophir Lipstein, that was the mayor, because this is how it is in Israel. You are the mayor and you're also protecting the kibbutz. My cousin, my grandma, and my dear brother that died by protecting his girlfriend while the terrorists broke to the apartment. They threw a grenade. And Netta decided to jump on the grenade, to take the explosion by his body, to save Iran. And he did. So this is something I lost forever, but I think I also discovered my special resilience in myself, in my family, as a community, that I wish we didn't have to do this test, but we had this test, and I have discovered about myself how many strengths we have as a family, as a community, as people in this world. Since that, I have started to do tours in the kibbutz and share with people our story and how acting gives you the power to go through everything. Being in action is the most important thing that can help you heal from everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Rona. Gon?
Hey everyone, I must say that I'm very glad and happy and excited to be here today. Thank you very much. We appreciate that a lot, that we can share our story. It's not obvious at all. So thank you very much. My name is Gon Susana. I'm 32 years old. I'm a council member from Kibbutz Kfar Azza, and I was there on October 7. I was there with my wife and my 5-month baby boy, Sheran. I find myself fighting for 34 hours against tens or even hundreds of terrorists that came to murder our community, that came to destroy our kibbutz. More than 10 years ago, I was an officer in the IDF, in Golani Brigade, and I took a part in the battles of Operation Protective Age. I lost my left eye, and I injured badly, and I think that I finished with fighting, but on the 7th of October, I found myself in the middle of my kibbutz, our small village, need to take my gun and trying to protect the kibbutz. We lost a lot of people on October 7. We lost 64 people that Hamas murdered to us. But we didn't lose our hope. We took a decision that we are going to build Kfar Azza again. And we're going to do that good. Because we need to build Israel again. And we need to save our country. Thank you very much. When I'm thinking about my grandma, she came to the kibbutz from the Holocaust. She survived the Holocaust in Poland. And she took the decision that she will come to the kibbutz and she will build the country. And right now, our job is to build the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gun. So again, Kfar Azza community of 950 people attacked on October 7th by 300 terrorists, killing 64 members of the community, 19 taken into captivity, one of them here with us today, Keith.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm extremely honored and privileged to be here, and I'm very, very grateful to have an opportunity to thank each and every one of you for your prayers and for your support and for helping to bring me and my wife Aviva back home to be reunited with our family. On October the 7th, I lost, and we all lost, over 60 of my friends and my neighbors, people that I had known for over 40 years, grandmothers and grandfathers and children, and an entire family that was murdered by Hamas. And the loss is great. The loss is great. I am here to honor their memory and also to ask you to be part of the rebuilding of Kfar Azza, to be our partners, to ensure that Kfar Azza is rebuilt in honor of those that we lost and in honor of the future generations. And there will be future generations, and people will come back to Kfar Azza. Kfar Azza will return to be the beautiful, amazing community that it was. A very, very supportive community, a community that helped and did so much to get me back home, and a community that knows how to support people when they're in times of need and when they are in times of difficulty. After October the 7th, and after coming home from Gaza after 484 days, I realized that I had the strength and the resilience, and I was fortunate to have my family and my friends and to have all of you and so many people that supported me and prayed for me and gave me the strength to endure, to survive, to come back and to speak on behalf of the hostages that remained in Gaza. When I came back and I came to realize that 4 of my friends that I had met in captivity and 50 hostages stayed in Gaza, I decided my mission in life is to speak and to do whatever I can do to help get all of the hostages released. And that's what I did. I also want to mention the security forces, the soldiers, and all of the people involved in security. And I want to recognize all of them and for what they have done and the ones that we have lost. And I want to ask you all to please pray for the injured and for the IDF soldiers and security forces, that God will protect them and bless the souls of all that we have lost on the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. So we believe that our presence here today is not a coincidence. We don't really believe in coincidences. In order to live in Israel, you need to believe in miracles. That is the first Prime Minister of Israel said, Ben Gurion, if you want to be rational, believe in miracles. Some people think that it doesn't align, but it does. So I want to ask the 3 of you my last question. And then I know that many people will have follow-up questions for you when we walk off stage. But what would you ask believers around the world to pray for? And what kind of response beyond prayer do you believe God is calling them to take after hearing your story? Rona?
So I would like for people all over the world to pray for the safety of Israel. I wish to come back to Kfar Azza. I really, really want to. I miss my house so much. But now I feel unsafe to come back. While Hamas is still threatening our lives, I'm too scared to go back. And I want people all over the world to pray as hard as you can to the safe of Israel, for us to be able to come back to Kfar Azza, and that Israel, the Jewish nation, the Israeli nation, that the West world would never have to deal with such a terrible enemy. This is what I want you to pray for.
Thank you, Rona. Gun?
I felt that God was with me on the 7th of October. He was with me on the battles during 7th of October, and I believe He protected my family on the 7th of October. We feel your support, really. We feel your support every day that you are praying for Israel, that you are praying for building our country. And I wish that we're going to win this war, and I hope that the good will win the bad and will bring peace to the world. So please continue praying for Israel. Continue praying for the amazing connection between the U.S. to Israel, and continue praying for build Kfar Azza again. Thank you.
Thank you, Gun.
During my time in captivity, my Jewish faith became stronger, and I started to pray, and I blessed. And I mentioned before all of your prayers, and together, my faith, my prayers, my belief, and all of you together gave me the strength to survive. There is still one hostage that remains in Gaza. His name is Ran Gvili, and I would like to ask all of you and all of us together to pray for his swift release, and also to pray for all of the victims of what happened on October the 7th, and all of the innocent people in the world that have been a victim of whatever kind. Let's all pray together for their health, for their just having the best life that they can. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. So as I mentioned before, we don't believe that our presence here today is a coincidence, and we see it as a call for action. It's an opportunity to partner with Kfar Azza and to actually build homes in Israel. There's so much that the Israeli government can do, and we are receiving government support. Unfortunately, it's not enough in order to complete all of construction needs. So there are pamphlets on your tables that say Kfar Azza on them, and they have QR codes on them. And we are set up in the United States with a 501c, so any donation is tax deductible. And we know, thanks to many people that have already approached us, and we are so appreciative of that there are people in this room that can help us create conversations with those who want to define themselves by action, those who can say, I know a few people who are interested in helping to build homes in Israel so people can live in Kfar Azza, can live in the community once again. We would like to reopen the community as of the summer of 26, but we need our partners. We need help. It's not a lot, but it means so much to us. There is no better revenge than reopening Kfar Azza and allowing even more people to live there and having even more homes there for young adults and for young families who want this community to thrive again and to be strong again. Please, if you know those people who can say, let's sit down, let's talk about the future of a community. Let us help you lay one brick after the other because we can do this. We would love to have those conversations with you. Albert, we are so appreciative of the invitation. We are so happy to be here. It is a blessing to feel at home away from home. Thank you, and thank everyone that has made us feel so welcomed and so blessed. We remember this during our hard times, but also appreciate this as we look at the future. On behalf of all of us, and we say thank you in Hebrew, Todah.
Todah Rabba. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. Thank you, Rona. Thank you, Alon. Our son was in Kfar Azza on October the 8th. So he saw the atrocities. He saw the horrible. And this is where he called us and said, Abba, we don't have the equipment that we need. We don't have the ceramic vests because the terrorists were still hiding there. So what you have gone through is beyond all description. And I would ask Mark, you to pray before you invite our next speakers. Thank you.
Absolutely. We are the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast. You've heard some amazing testimony from October 7 and the importance of rebuilding and restoring. And so let's take just a moment and pray for those who just shared with us. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come into your presence. And Lord, what you put on my heart to say is what Rona said. She prayed for that sense of security and safety. And so, Heavenly Father, we ask that you would bring peace as they rebuild Kfar Azza, that they can rebuild in safety and security, that they would have that assurance from you. And for those who carry the memories of October 7, we do pray, as we know from Scripture, that you draw near to those who are brokenhearted. You draw near to those who are crushed in spirit. And Lord, we know that there are many bitter memories that haunt those who suffered being captured, those who lost family members. And so we lift them up to you that they might have a blessing of peace, that they may have your heavenly comfort, something, a strength and a resilience that comes from you, something that man can't even understand. But give them that comfort, give them that strength. And we pray for every effort to rebuild these communities, that these communities will thrive again, to give testimony not only to those people who were there, had built the communities that were destroyed on October 7, but these communities will give testimony to your faithfulness to the people of Israel. We thank you, and we pray this in the name of Hashem. Amen.
Thank you.
And now as we continue, I would like to invite Professor Shlomi Kaddish. Here he is. Welcome to the stage. Let me tell you a little bit about this man that's going to share with us today. He's an Israeli physician. He's a healthcare administrator, and he serves as CEO of Soroka University Medical Center, the largest hospital in southern Israel. And listen to this, it's the only level 1 trauma center in the region. Now you know what that meant on October 7. And what's so significant is any trauma center is going to train for a mass casualty event. But I don't think anyone could have prepared them for what they would be dealing with on October 7. So we're going to hear from Professor Shlomi about what happened. And I have to also say that Hashem gave him amazing insight before that so-called 12-day war with Iran to move to evacuate patients out of the hospital, which saved many, many lives. So we have someone here who is a real hero. And I know you would say, and you will say, so many people who are part of your staff and that hospital rushing, even with the sirens going, to come and to do what they were trained to do is absolutely amazing. So please welcome Shlomi to the stage. Bless you, my friend.
Thank you very much for the introduction and the invitation. I will try to share with you some of the extraordinary, unprecedented events that took place at Soroka Medical Center over the past 2.5 years. But before I do that, let me tell you a bit about Soroka Medical Center. As described, we care for about 1 million people. We're the only medical center for 60% of the area of the country. And importantly, we're very close to the Gaza Strip and where the army trains in southern Israel. So basically, things happen at Soroka, and the future of Israel is in the Negev. As described from Kfar Azza, the Negev, southern Israel, is where the country will develop, and we know people rely on good health care, excellent health care, as a requirement for them of where they will train. So when I say the future of Israel is at Soroka, I just want to give one small example for that. In the past 2 years, we've trained and recruited 72 immigrant physicians from Russia, primarily from Russia and the Ukraine, who trained at Soroka for a year, came with their families. Each one of them will probably bring more family members with them, and that's how the Negev grows. And I've been told some people in the audience have supported Masa and other groups for immigrant physicians. Thank you for that. It's extremely important in what we do, developing the south of Israel and the future of the country. And these are physicians getting their Tudot Zehut, their Israeli ID cards, at Soroka. And we're very proud of this activity, just as an example. I'm going to use the word miracle 4 times in this lecture, out of many events we've experienced over the past 2 years. The most severely wounded soldiers from Gaza come to Soroka, and we've accompanied them and their incredible families. But this all started on October 7th. On October 7th, Soroka treated the largest mass casualty incident as a result from terror in human history. No other medical center ever treated this number of wounded people in one day. 9/11, regretfully, did not have that many survivors to treat during that day. And when you look at the numbers, we treated 674 wounded people in the first day alone. The largest number Soroka ever treated was 120, less than a fifth. And all of this was being done while we were under fire. 69 air raid sirens went off that day across our campus. And this is where I used the word miracle the first time. These numbers, if someone woke me up the day before, and to be fair, if someone asked me today, could a medical center handle such an event? I don't think any hospital director in the Western world would say yes. The answer is no, this shouldn't be possible. And yet, the mortality rate was the lowest in Israeli history. Everyone who needed surgery got it. Our staff performed incredibly. But the number of decisions we made and the risk of any one of them going wrong was such that clearly this is a miracle. This should not have been possible that day. This is what our trauma unit looked like, a very small number of the photos. Our staff came in. We were not short for physicians. You see this on the left side of the slide. We were never short for caregivers. 2,000 people came in and provided care. On the right side, you can see the number of stretchers and the total lack of care in the field. People came in with no care in the field, brought in by civilians and so on. And the bottom center photo shows the horror of what the IDF went through that day. This is a vest of a soldier from an elite unit who was brought into the ED by civilians and survived, but this is just symbols of what went on during that day. The number of soldiers we treated throughout these past 2 years is unprecedented. We treated returning hostages who needed extensive care. And the picture of the right is a bit of the story of the humanity of Soroka. This is a picture I took myself when a soldier from the K9 unit was airlifted to Soroka, was patched up in our trauma unit, and just before he went to surgery, his dog was brought in. So we allowed him to be, there's a soldier underneath the dog. And we allowed for that to happen. And again, small moments of joy within what went on through these 2 years. As I said, we treated 7 returning hostages at Soroka, and it was amazing to see Keith and the revival of people who went through horrible, horrible conditions. I will mention Elma Abraham, who was brought to Soroka at age 84, within an inch of her life, airlifted. The fact that she survived is incredible. She spent half a year at Soroka going through rehabilitation, and she's back with her family, and we're grateful for this. Then came the 12-day war with Iran. 3 a.m., air raid sirens go off across the country of Israel. What you do when air raid sirens go off, I'm sure you know, is you seek shelter. You collect your family, wakes them up, go to a protected area, and wait for whatever's coming. At Soroka, that's not what we do. What we do at Soroka is we get into our cars and drive to the medical center. This is us at 4:15 a.m. on the same day, preparing for what we didn't know was going to come. And the first thing we did is we moved departments to shelter, and I'm going to use the word miracle for the second time, because on Wednesday, June 18th, we evacuated some more wards just because we had the opportunity to do a little better. In fact, we were told by our government the day before, we're okay, we don't need to move anyone anymore. And to be completely fair, I don't really have a logical explanation why those were the wards we moved. We knew we could move some wards, and someone guided us to make the right decision and choose which ward we should be moving. On Tuesday, 2 days before the missile hit, we walked through all our wards and taught our team what to do in case of an earthquake. Now, some of you must be thinking that's really strange. Why would I be talking about earthquake in the middle of a war with Iran? The rationale was we were worried a missile might hit at 3 a.m. when we're not in the hospital. We didn't want to scare people and say, this is what you'll do when a missile strikes. So we told them, this is what you'll do in case of an earthquake. I was concerned that some people would be scared and understand what we're doing and maybe not come into work. I asked them a few months later. They said, no, we know that you like drilling. We thought you were just just doing a drill. But Thursday morning, 2 days later, this is what they did. And they evacuated based on this protocol. I'm going to use the word miracle for the third time for this photo. In November 2024, half a year before the war with Iran, in the middle of the war with Gaza, our fire brigade approached us and said, can we do a drill at Soroka? And the gut reflexes go away. We don't have time, we're in the middle of a war. And we decided to allow them to do it. And keep in mind this photo that shows a crane evacuating one of our many buildings on the 5th floor in November 2024, half a year before the war with Iran. Then comes November 19th. We've been preparing for a week. No one thinks we're going to be hit. It's a very unlikely event. And this is what a ballistic missile looks like when it hits a medical center, when 1,650 pounds of explosives strike a medical center in the most vulnerable site in the medical center. This is the building that was struck on front. And remember the crane and the fire brigade drill? Look at the left side of the picture. The missile struck the exact building the fire brigade randomly chose to practice on half a year before. And I've got to say, from all the events of these 2.5 years, this is probably the most miraculous and unexplainable. The fact that the fire brigade would choose Soroka, would choose that building, and when they come in, half a year later, that's the picture on the left, the same crane knows where to park, where the water hoses are. The one thing they got wrong, they didn't need to evacuate the building because we had evacuated it the day before. But and again, it'll take less. People often ask, was this intentional? It was intentional. The Iranians targeted elderly patients in a hospital in a cold-blooded manner. We know this for two reasons. One, they boast that the accuracy of the missile that struck us is 50 yards. Where it hit is 200 yards from any gate, any fence we have. Number two, they struck our oldest building in red. The one where there are no bomb shelters. They had good intelligence. The one where urology and ear, nose, and throat has elderly patients who cannot evacuate rapidly or walk downstairs. This is very, very barbaric and intentional. They were able to devastate the two buildings in yellow, two 6-story buildings with 600 beds, where the staff acted incredibly well. The fourth time I'm going to use the word miracle because, again, I cannot explain this number. We had 2,300 people in the hospital that day. That's a lot of people. Patients, families, staff members. Not one person was killed and not one person was seriously wounded. The day ended with 40 patients slightly wounded, discharged from the ED. And again, if you ask anyone, is this possible? As a theoretical question, the answer is absolutely not. And you need to know about Soroka, only 20% of our area is protected. So this is despite the fact that 70% of our campus is unprotected. And again, a lot of preparation went into that, but you cannot just attribute this to preparation. Regretfully, we were able to save lives in a very major way, but the damage to structure is beyond words. The missile struck the heart of our campus and took out a lot of our functions. We are now down 25% of our beds, 40% of our operating rooms. Rebuilding will take a long time, but again, buildings can rebuild. Human lives are not replaceable. We have a 6-year plan to rebuild. It is very elaborate, it is very expensive. The Israeli government, our parent organizations, many philanthropical groups abroad have helped. We're about 90% of the way, which is incredible to me, 7 months in. We still are short about $100 million that we will be raising over the next 5 or 6 years. And as you can see, our plan is not just to patch up what was destroyed. We will rebuild stronger, more innovative, more protected. Iran will not win this either. The other reason we know this was intentional, an Iranian Telegram account published this the day of the missile strike. This is supposedly the secret army base I have underneath the hospital, which is what they were targeting. It's absurd beyond words. They had the rationality to remove this the next day when they realized how crazy this was. But we grabbed the photo before. If I had tanks, my life would have been easier. And this is what we're about. We're going to rebuild not just Soroka, the south of Israel. We're going to return to the south of Israel. No one can go back to the Ishuvim around the hospital and in Western Negev if they don't have good health care. And they will have the most reimagined health care that can be imagined. And we're working on that. We're working with the Israeli high-tech companies how to build the most modern hospital in Israel as a response to this barbaric attack. I want to share this story as really as one of the most touching moments we've had over these past years, and what rebuilding really means. The structure, you pay money, you buy, you raise money, eventually you build. On October 7th, in the emergency department with us worked Dr. Eitan Ne'eman. He is the guy on the left. The first patient he treated was Muhammad, a Bedouin kid from Segev Shalom. Around noon, he was called up to reserve service. He was a physician for an elite army unit. His last living photo is the photo on the left, praying the morning prayers, Shacharit, in the roadside in Sderot. He was killed in action that day, leaving his wife, Yael, and their 7 children. They live in the West Bank, in Judea and Samaria. And if you need the capsule of Israeli history, a settler in Judea and Samaria, treating the Bedouin patient as his first patient of the day, getting called up to reserve, and being killed in action. And this lays very heavy on everyone on our staff. We lost several other staff members. But around the Jewish New Year, his widow Yael called me and said, Shlomi, Yuda, our youngest son, is about to be bar mitzvahed. And would it be okay if he laid tefillin for the first time at our synagogue? Now, Yuda and Eitan are both left-handed, so Yuda gets his father's tefillin. And we are now faced with an event we're arranging at our synagogue. And, I told her, and then she said, will you speak? And I said, I'd be honored to, but what event is this? Is this a happy event? Is this a bar mitzvah? How do we do this in the hospital with the specter of the dead father, above us? And she didn't make my life easier. She said, I trust you. Okay. At our synagogue that morning, we had Christians, Muslims, and Jews, each one praying in their own way, people who respected the father and were friends of the family. I can't even begin to describe the emotions. One of our doctors who's left-handed taught Yuda how to lay left-handed tefillins, and that's a picture on the right of Yuda. And it was a very joyous event, in case you were concerned, for the family. And it's part of what we do at Soroka. We don't just rebuild the buildings, we rebuild our community in a very big way. This is my last slide. I described a lot of what we did. I could go on for hours because 2 years and 3,000 soldiers and 7 returning hostages, each one of them touched us in their own special way. But this is really a story of our staff. And this is a picture of a very small number out of our 5,900 staff who are the real heroes of this story. These are the people who do the actual work, come in every possible condition, connect the families and others. And these are the people that I have been tasked with helping through this healing process for us and everyone. The QR code will take you to the American Friends of Soroka website. We would love for you to get involved in what we're doing. It is the story of Israel, encapsulated in one major medical center. We have with us some friends from American Friends of Soroka. Approach any one of us if you want to hear more about Soroka. This has been an amazing morning for me, experiencing for the first time such an event. And this has been so heartwarming to see the coming together of minds. And as you can see, we're very emotional about what we do. And seeing the emotions in this room has been very empowering. So thank you very much for that. I have one more piece of action here. We were going to have the Crown Prince from Iran, and we have brought him a souvenir from home. This is a piece of the missile that hit Soroka. And while he is not here, I am sure someone will be able to get this to him. I'm not sure this is the souvenir he wants from home, but it is a reminder of the horrible nature of this regime that would target a medical center trying to kill 2,300 people. So if someone can get this to him, I'll take this back off stage with me. And thank you very much, everyone.
In the aftermath of the Yom Kippur War, to serve as a home for Israeli disabled veterans and their families. To this day, over 70,000 veterans have found a second home in Beit HaLochem, over 20,000 of them since October 7. More than 8,000 brave men and women are now receiving vital support for PTSD. We help them restore strength and hope through 85,000 physiotherapy treatments and 60,000 hydrotherapy sessions annually. With more than 380,000 training sessions per year, we empower our heroes to rebuild their bodies and spirits. Over 950 educational scholarships help our veterans pursue their dreams beyond recovery, proving that injury does not define destiny. Over the years, Beit HaLochem has become a global symbol of gratitude to those who have sacrificed their lives for the State of Israel. Across countries, cultures, and oceans, a shared commitment unites us. Here, the world comes together alongside the government of Israel to stand beside them and to support. I want to show you the 5 Beit HaLochem centers in Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem, Beersheba, and a new one is in Ashdod. Haifa is our first stop on our tour, and I can't wait to show you how Beit HaLochem rebuilds their lives and gives them the tools to become a member of society again.
Since the 7th of October, we've seen an unprecedented rise in the numbers of people dealing with PTSD coming and using the facilities of Beit HaLochem. Half of them are both physically and mentally injured. This is the time, there will be no other time to help people rebuild their life. It's now or never, so let's choose now.
Jerusalem is more than a city. My heart pounds as I'm stepping into something far greater. Here, near to the Western Wall, I feel more connected to my identity and my roots. Every Beit HaLochem center is unique, but they all share the same mission: to provide a safe place for healing, growth, and community. As you can see, the facilities here at Beit HaLochem are state of the art. It's fantastic. Our next stop, Tel Aviv. The first time I went to see Beit HaLochem in Tel Aviv was about 11 years ago, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some familiar faces. This place is incredible. Veterans before their injuries that used to play basketball or used to swim, run marathons, ride motorcycles, nothing stops them at Beit HaLochem. This organization has thought about every single detail. Behind every wounded veteran, there is a story. There is a family whose entire life has been turned upside down. We as mothers want to make sure that our child receives the best care. Smadar is such a mother. Oz, her son, was in Gaza. A Hamas bomb exploded, and Oz was severely wounded.
Oz's injury was really, really severe. He suffered from a head trauma. Bet Lochem was always visiting and wanted to know how they can help Oz. They invited him to go to Bet Lochem and show him all the activities that are over there. We were overwhelmed. And for me, Bet Lochem is like a home.
Every journey through Beit Lochem centers reinforces one truth: Israel's wounded veterans are not alone. Welcome to Beersheba, the capital of the Negev. As you can see, physio is a big part of the journey of our rehabilitation. The facilities are fantastic and already started with physio. Let's head to our new center in Ashdod. Beit Lochem is constantly growing and developing, especially today. After the Swords of Iron War, when thousands of new wounded veterans are joining the family, we are required to provide a solution and be more accessible than ever.
כאן בבית הלוחם אשדוד, למעשה ייבנה המרכז הגדול ביותר לטיפול בפוסט-טראומטי. אנחנו מבינים טוב מאוד כמה המקום הזה חשוב לשיקום, שהתחושה היא פה מאוד גדולה של שליחות.
From Haifa to Jerusalem, Tel Aviv to Beersheba, and now Ashdod. Beit Lochem is more than a network of centers. It's a family that stands together through challenges and triumphs. We have lost so many of our brave men and women. Let's save our heroes that we can help today. Thank you for being part of this journey. Toda Rabba, Am Yisrael Chai.
Presentation. Right. All right. Oh, it's too strong, right? So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for hosting us here. It's a wonderful convention and get-together of people that have a strong belief with an action of doing what I believe. My name is Idan Kleiman. I'm the chairman of the most amazing organization, which I want to present it to you. You saw Bet Lochem, our centers. Those centers are owned by the ZDVO, the Child Disabled Veteran Organization. First, I will present myself. I was born and raised in Jerusalem. I was born in 1973 to my wonderful parents, Aliyah and Ruth Kleiman. Thank you. I had a great childhood in Jerusalem, and I passed of my parents a security of protecting Israel. My grandfather died in the Liberation War protecting the north border, and my father was heavily wounded in 1973 protecting the south border. It was just, for me, it was so reasonable and so clear that when I will get 18, I will join the Israeli army and serve as a fighter. In 10th of November 1992, I was wounded engaging terrorists in Khan Yunis, Gaza. 3 terrorists were on their way to hurt people. What you saw at October 7, there was a similar. 3 terrorists in 1992 was on their way to hurt civilian Israelis, women, child, all people. And my team put their body between those terrorists and civilian Israelis. And the price was heavy for me, but we succeed. We killed 2 terrorists and 1 was captured, but I got shot in the chest. Actually, being here, it's a miracle. It's one of those acts of God, because when I was shot in the chest, I died twice. First on the operation table, they started to revive me, they succeeded to revive me. The second time they couldn't, and the doctor ran into the intensive care, and in front of my parents, they cut my chest and did an open heart massage to my heart. And 4 days later, I woke up asking, where is my weapon? Where is my army uniform? Where is my chimidan, the bags? And the doctor said, shut up, Nijas, you're alive, this is enough for you. And from then, I started my amazing journey that you can see here, that my, let's say, most important station of my life, of getting married with my lovely wife Shiri that is here, and having Daniela and Uri, my kids, which are my victory. And yes, whenever I go to sleep, when I go to kiss Daniela, I ask her, who is my victory? And she says, I am. So this is the way you win terrorists. And in July 2019, I had the privilege and the honor to become the chairman of this organization, which I present you in a second. In May 22, I light the torch for the Israeli Independence Day ceremony, and in 2025, I received an honorary PhD for doing what you're going to see in a second. But this is how it all began. 1949, Pavilion 19, Tel HaShomer Hospital. And I'm stopping here for a second and say to you, we have a lot of heroes in Israel, more than 80,000 now. And those heroes paid a heavy price. Because I gotta tell you the truth, it's not easy to be paraplegic. It's not easy to be a blind person. It's not easy to can't sleep at night because of PTSD. And getting older made it even tougher. And people ask us, why? How do you do it? How do you wake up every morning and do all those miracles? And I tell them a true story. When I get out from my house and I take in right to another turn, I see elementary school and I see kindergarten. And then we open the radio and we heard about another Nobel Prize or something scientific or the medicine or sports or something that became amazing in Israel. And we understand why we did it and why you're doing it and why the hero before me and be after me. People will pay a heavy price for the surviving of Israel because we are the living testimony of the price of Israel. And this is the mission of our organization. In 1949, we decided to take our own destiny in our hands, not waiting to the government, not waiting to some politician to help us, do it by myself, following our beliefs. And for us to rehabilitate a veteran, it's meaning that you need to work, to study, to raise a family, to go back to the society. Not just get some allowance from the government and sit in his house, okay? So women and men of the IDF security forces, we want them to go back to the community. And jumping forward to 2026, those are our numbers. Now we have 55,800 disabled veterans who are recognized by the Israeli government, and another 23,000 new veterans. And on the way here, I asked the ChatGPT, what does it mean in American numbers, like in the United States, okay? It means like in the end of a war, you will have here in the United States another 800,000 new wounded soldiers, okay? United States is 40 times more than Israel, population-wise, okay? So when I say 23,000,
think about 800,000 in your terms, okay? We are representing the IDF soldiers, the police officer, the Israeli Mossad, the security service, okay, and the prison guards. We're having more than 537 employees. Our budget jumped from October 7th that we used to run all of our organization with the 50 million, it jumped for more than 113 million, okay? And we have more than 435 different classes. Those are the numbers of Iron Sword. You see how many female wounded soldiers and how severe injured, okay? And you see that the ages went down from 64, that was the average, because of Yom Kippur war, to 30.1. Many of the reserved, which means that we need to open gymboree room for the kids, music room, young club rooms. We need to adjust our Bet HaLochem, our rehabilitation centers, to our new population. And many with the PTSD. People think that rehabilitation ends when you go out from the hospital. You're in the hospital for 3 months, you're in the hospital for 4 months. No. Rehabilitation is a journey for life, never-ending story. And our organization is the only organization that take you from the day that you're in the hospital, give you a sense of belonging, you're not alone, give you a responsibility, building a future to you, to yourself, and assist you in all of your different stations in life. We do it through our centers all over Israel. You can see it. In Jerusalem, Kfar, Tel Aviv, and Beersheba, Nahariya, and now we're finishing in Ashdod. And this is our secret formula. When you look at the formula, you understand how easy it is, but it's tradition of almost 80 years of knowledge. The veteran is in the middle. You do it by showing his rights, taking care of the family, education in work, which is very, very important, and the other 4 tools of community, sports, culture, and mental well-being. When you do that, when you put all this envelope, as you call it, around the surrounding about this veteran, then you have more than 70% success rate of putting them back in job, which is 10% more of the normal population, and by far from every democracy, other democracies army in the world. This is just an example of our organization who know what they're doing going into a war. This is only the first year of Iron Sword. We touched 12,747 wounded soldiers on the first year. Every wounded soldier that was in the hospital for 24 hours, we touched him, okay? You can see how many programs we did. You see how much money we spend on them, on the hospital, to make sure that they feel not alone. It's not easy, but we are winning this war. It's the war after the war, and we win it, and we will succeed. I want to finish with something nice, because we are a happy story, okay? It's a story about heroism, not about being poor, okay? And I want to show you, you saw the movies about Bet HaLochem, but I want to show you also about the outdoor action and our message to the wounded soldiers. The message of the organization to the wounded soldiers is, you're never alone. But the message that we want them to go out from Bet HaLochem. Bet HaLochem is not a ghetto, it's a safety net. We want them to go out to the civilian world with the knowledge that there's nothing they can do. So please see this movie.
תתארו לכם עולם יפה, פחות עצוב ממשהו ככה, ואנחנו שם הולכים עם שמש בכיסים ומעל גגות הכוכבים, והזמן עובר בלי פחד, ואני הולך לפגוש אותה בגן העדן. תתארו לכם קצת אושר, כי הוא כל כך, כל כך נדיר כאן. עיר מגניבה בתוך החושך, ושנינו בשמיכה. והיא מלטפת אותי ואומרת לי, מחר יקרה מה שרצית. ועם לאט השתקפויות של עצב ושמחה. תתארו לכם באמצע יום יפה, שמיים עליכם, אהבה איתכם, כן ככה זה קרה. לפתע היא אמרה, אני עוד זוכר אותה, כמו בסערה. תתארו לכם אותי נופל לתוך זרועותיה. תתארו לכם עולם פשוט, חדר ללילה, בית בגשם, ריחות עצים מלאים בתות, ושנינו שיכורים. אם ניפרד אני אמות, היא לוחשת וגועשת. תתארו לכם עוד הזדמנות לחזור פתאום לנעורים. תתארו לכם את החיים זזים אחורה וקדימה, מה שחסר שהוא מתמלא, מה שהיה פתאום ישנו, ואני מביט לתוך עיניה ונגנב בכוח פנים.
I want to finish, thank you very much. I want to finish and just one message. After I woke up and understood the miracle that I have, I knew that I have a special journey. I came from a very tough family, a very supportive one. Not everybody has such meanings. And I knew that I have to represent them. I have to speak in their behalf. All of those soldiers ran into fire, ran to save us, to save the country of Israel. In the Israeli army, there's Christian, Muslim, Jews, and Jews. We are rehabilitating now all those wounded soldiers. They need you. So they need to be recognized. It's something that will help them to rehabilitate. And we need the means to do it. We need the facilities, and we need to push forward, and we need to give them all the support they can have to win this. So Israeli army will still have be strong. Israeli country, the resilience of Israel will be still strong. Doing it by sending the message that that we see you, we don't forget you, we not throw you away because you're wounded, and we will support you. This is what help our organization to have the success rate, to help the Israeli army, and to help the resilience of the state of Israel. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Adon. I so appreciate your philosophy of care for the heroes of Israel, using every conceivable means to help them fight the war after the war. So very incredible work that they are doing, and we're so grateful. Now, I have the privilege to introduce a man who needs no introduction, and that is Albert Wexler. He needs no introduction, but he certainly needs our appreciation and support. Before he takes the stage, let me just say this. I want to echo what Jim Garlow said, because I can remember when we were all sitting together in that office in Jerusalem, talking about what the Jerusalem prayer breakfast might be. And it was Albert, when we were talking about the Jerusalem prayer breakfast, that said it's not an event, it's a movement. And how God has anointed him for such a movement, anointed him for such a time as this. And so I just want us to show our appreciation for everything that you have done, recognizing God's anointing on your life for this special calling. I want to thank you for all the million miles you've traveled around the world, for all the effort you've done with your family. So let us welcome to the stage and thank our brother, Albert.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Well, I have to be very brief because of our time limits, and I want to say a few words about the organization called Global Aliyah. So if you could please have my presentation, thank you, that would be helpful. We started the organization in 2014 when the first Ukrainian war started. Russia invaded Crimean Peninsula, and then we saw something that nobody seemed to predict because of the new rules of visa freedom for Ukrainian and Russian citizens. The Jewish Ukrainians and Russians were caught into this war. They had no time of getting their Aliyah papers cleared, and so they came as tourists. You know, the regular process of coming to Israel to becoming a citizen of Israel is that you turn in your paperwork, you give your documents to the Jewish agency, to the Israeli consulate and embassy, and then they would find whether you are eligible or not. And so we figured out that people started coming on their own without the consular procedures were ended. Now, I would ask you to close the door because it's a very, very disturbing thing to kind of compete with this sound from outside. So, and I would really ask you to respect me for what I have to say because I'm going to take just a few minutes of yours. So, this, we know these scriptures, we know what the Bible speaks about bringing the Jewish people home, but it's something that is beyond what you usually know. And it is these special cases, these special operations of Aliyah that you need to take care of. So you can look at this girl. I mean, we didn't download these pictures. These are real people that we have really helped. We've helped hundreds of people, helping them making Aliyah. And this is something that I really want to bring to your attention because what is Mamdani's victory telling to you in New York? What is happening for the Jewish people in America? Is the golden era of the Jews over in America? That's my question. And if persecution starts in this country, God forbid, then how will you help the Jewish people to make their way home to Israel? Now, I was really surprised when I was in Indianapolis. Laura, you are sitting right here, and you said something that I didn't expect to come from you. You said we need to open a secure channel from Indiana to Tel Aviv. Now, I was very surprised. Why did you think even about this? Now, in the early 90s, when the wave of Aliyah started from former Soviet Union, I was involved in these processes. I was seeing how many Christians were actually mobilized to help the Jewish people make Aliyah. And it was a fascinating thing to see. It was something that, you know, you couldn't even understand how it happened. But suddenly there were several churches, there were several ministries that were mobilized, and they got the vision and they started helping practically the Jewish people to make Aliyah. Now, if you think of moving to another state, right, that is one thing. If you think of moving to another country, that's a whole other story. Another language, another culture, another mentality, everything different. And so Aliyah is not a simple process. I mean, we made Aliyah in early 2003, and it took us a while to learn the language. It took us a while to get adjusted and to become Israelis really to become the members of the Israeli society. But when you think of these processes, when you think of these stories of people, there are many who fall between the chairs, and these are the ones I want to talk to you about. From 2018, Israeli consuls, in cases where you don't have enough documentation about proving whether this person has the right to make Aliyah or not, have been using DNA testing. Now, it's not to recognize whether you have enough DNA markers to count yourself a Jew. We could do that, but Israeli government is not recognizing such Aliyah. The only way, the only recognition so far is to see whether a person who don't have enough documents, but who is related to a known Jewish person, a known Israeli, they do the DNA test, and in Israel, the DNA tests are made only by the court order. Family court makes a decision, and then the Israeli clinic performs this DNA test in order to really prove whether there is a proximity, a close proximity relationship between a known Jewish person, known Israeli, and the candidate. And so I can give you a very, actually, brutal example of how it happens. A family, and you know, here in America as well, you have many mixed marriages, and the family comes to the consul, and the consul looks at them and says to the parents, well, I know who you are because we have the documents that you are Jewish. And then he looks at the children and says, but I don't know who you are because the child was born before the parents were married. And especially, you know, it's quite brutal for a child to even hear this thing, but this is what actually happens. And so then they say, well, then you need to go and do a DNA test. So how do you do a DNA test? Well, okay, you have to go and hire a lawyer, and then he has to be a guy who knows how to kind of guide you through this process. $20,000. How many of people who are running away from a dangerous situation, wherever it is, have a spare $20,000 in their pocket to do a DNA test? Now, we have, you know, been working with several law offices in Israel. We have established our work. It was Leah Shem Tov, a former Knesset member, who pointed out and started this work, helping these people that are falling between the chairs, who have the right to make Aliyah but don't have enough documents to prove their eligibility. And so we started helping them, and then we have been able to bring the price down because of the relationship, because of the volume of the people. Yes, the DNA test itself costs $500 per person, and you have to test 3 to 4 people to get the right results. But then the legal work costs about $2,000. So it is significantly less than $20,000. But I've been trying to convince Israeli Knesset members, and I've been trying to, you know, tell them, look, when a person has actually proven that he has the right to make Aliyah, although he has not enough paperwork, but he has proven, would you give me the legislation to pay them at least the money back that they paid for the testing? And I have not succeeded yet. We have 2 Knesset members here, and I don't know if I'm convincing you with my talk at all, but we need legislation that would help these people that have to prove their eligibility to make Aliyah by DNA testing, that they would at least get the funds back that they invested into this, because Israel is paying so much money for the Aliyah, encouraging Aliyah, Aliyah fairs, all kinds of events. But these are people that are falling between the chairs. And I can tell you, if you look at America, we have many thousands of people that would need such help and guidance. So we have to prepare for the mass wave of Aliyah. Why do I think so? Because God said so. God said, I will bring you from every nation, from every people, I will bring you back home. And we need to teach about Aliyah as a return and responsibility, not just rescue, prepare the hearts for sacrifice, patience and rebuilding, restore biblical language of ingathering and covenant, encourage prayer networks focused on open doors, protection on the journey. And so here is our website, globalaliyah.org. You can also talk to me. You have my email. You want to support this journey of, I believe, thousands of people that would need our help to come from America to make Aliyah. And if you are interested, start praying for this, get more information about this, and help us to bring all the Jewish people that have the right to come back home to Israel and become Israeli citizens so that their destinies can be changed, their lives can be changed. And to tell you the truth, only the evangelical Christians have been interested in supporting such Aliyah. So maybe there's going to be a change this time here, that we would have also our Jewish friends help those people make Aliyah who have the right to make Aliyah but don't have all the paperwork in place. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Ben Smith, and I would be happy to have him on the stage immediately because we are really getting close to our times. Oh, there comes another one. I like that speaker. I like that speaker. That's a very good speaker. Come. Come, Romy, please come. She waited for this moment, you can see that. Hey, Romy, come. So wonderful. Finally, she made it here.
So we have the opportunity to talk a little bit about charitable giving. So our next speaker, Ben Smith, is with the National Christian Foundation, and he has 3 masters and an attorney. You went to school a long time, brother. You went to school a long time. Please welcome Ben Smith as he talks to us about how we can give charitably more effectively.
Thank you. Thank you, Henry. Hello, everybody. It's special being the only thing, 2 of us between you and lunch, but we'll try to move fairly quickly. It sure is great to be here. I would like to share 2 things, very simple, but were transformative to my life and that of my wife, Martha, who's over here with us. Number 1 is to change my thinking about prayer, to pray to become a miracle rather than pray to get a miracle. The second is to intentionally consider, thoughtfully pray about creating a personal legacy. In my case, a few years ago, we had invested, I was doing well in my corporate career as an executive, and we invested in 5 businesses for tax purposes. And in case you hadn't thought about that, that's a really bad idea to do. And all 5 businesses went under, and I woke up one morning, $1.5 million in debt with no discretionary income. And in case you're wondering, it was stressful. It wasn't marriage enhancing either. And I was praying and asking people, please pray for me. I need help. I had an employee who came up to me and said, Ben, I think you should change your thinking. So what do you mean? Instead of praying for your own miracle, pray to become someone else's miracle. And I was huffy, but I said, okay, but I don't have anything. The bank owns everything. I don't have any money. I don't have any cash. I don't have anything. He said, that's not true. You have an old car, you have clothes, you have office supplies. Start making a difference. Over a period of 15 years, we were able to pay off every single bill, no bankruptcy, and give away $3 million. So you would think I would have learned it, but in August of 2015, the Mayo Clinic said, unfortunately, Ben, your cancer is back, and we don't have a solution. But go away and come back in 6 months. We'll see if we can figure something out. I had another friend remind me what happened to the pray to be a miracle thing. And I went, well, okay. So Martha and I got involved in supporting widows and orphans in the Middle East. We spent the following 5 months traveling and doing that. I went back for my medical checkup in January of 16, and they said your cancer is gone. The Mayo Clinic called it an unexplained medical phenomenon. We have different words for that. So what I would like to encourage you to do is simply two things, and I know we're short on time. One is to pray to become a miracle. Each of us have neighbors, friends, relatives who could use a phone call, a text, an email, who are going through divorce, health problems, financial issues. We can be a miracle. But the other one is to prayerfully consider a financial legacy. So my friend Nick Vujicic, who has been here several times, born with no arms and no legs, said, as a quote he uses often, I prayed for my miracle, then I realized I need to be a miracle for someone else. He's gone around the world being miracles for people, spoken to as many as 800,000 people. So in the Greek, the New Testament word for repent means change your thinking. So I would encourage us to change our thinking this morning and think about praying to become someone's miracle. In Proverbs, a generous person will be prosperous. Luke, give and will be given unto you. In Corinthians, Paul says, if you sow generously, you will reap that way. But I want to basically give you a few things you might not know and inspire you to prayerfully take some action. And we have provided for you, in case you want to discuss it, there's a follow-up card at your table. And I have agreed with Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast to provide 1-hour coaching sessions if you want to talk about your own situation. I have nothing to sell you, it's not a fundraising call. I'm not asking you for anything, just trying to help you. Because some of us, instead of having a positive legacy, are on track for a negative one. My father died when I was in high school. It took us 18 and a half years to settle his estate. My half-brother, half-sister and I got exactly 1/3 of what we would have gotten 18 and a half years later instead of the year afterwards. And bless his heart, he was an attorney. I do collect lawyer jokes, by the way. If you have one that I haven't heard that's funny and repeatable, it's worth $20. I may have given some of you the only reason to do it. One other thing. I know we're getting for lunch and you've been very patient. I had an uncle who died in church when I was 8 years old, Uncle Will. He went to sleep somewhere between point 1 and point 3 of that sermon, Steve. And he didn't wake up permanently. And I remember after that, my mother putting her arm around me and saying something to the effect, Ben, wasn't it beautiful your uncle died in church? As an 8-year-old, I had a different take. Number one, he was dead, and I don't know how good that was. But number two, I wondered what Reverend Jones must have thought, and I wondered if he'd ever use that sermon again. When I started doing programs, talking to people in a warm room after a long morning, I started thinking about Reverend Jones and my uncle, and I wondered how I would feel if one of you departed while I was talking. My self-esteem is fragile enough, so I'd like to ask one kindness. would you move a couple of times, please? You don't have to smile, I know. But if you'd move, I'd appreciate it. All right. The 55% of us, if we're average United States, don't have a will yet. We want to avoid a negative legacy. Those of us who have a will haven't looked at it in 10 years. 63%, two-thirds of us have no living will, power of attorney, or financial power of attorney. And we wonder why things don't go as well. So we'd like to encourage you. The biggest issue is conflict. If you don't have one, let's get one. Avoid a negative legacy. Think about a positive legacy. Jim Elliot, the martyred missionary, a quote, "He is no fool who gives up what he cannot keep to obtain what he cannot lose." And one thought, older gentleman said to me, "You know what, Ben? When we leave the world, we can't take anything with us except what we've given away." So we would like, most of us, when we get to the end of the road, would like to leave a mark for our time on the planet. And one of our friends had a quote that the business people, men and women, their greatest fear is getting to the end of the road and looking back and seeing no footprints. So we would like to encourage you to intentionally think about a legacy. Okay? All right. Dr. Neil Reese did a survey of 100-year-olds and discovered that 85% of their regrets were acts of omission, not commission. Things they wish they had done but hadn't done before they reached 100. Okay? Okay. Also, if you focus on personal legacy, there are a few benefits. You're going to live longer, you're going to have better relationships, you're going to be healthier, you're going to end up with better health all the way around. And I'd like to run through quickly. I think I've got 3 minutes, right? What? Okay. How much time? 5 minutes? Okay. You want me to stop? Okay. We'd like just to do 2 quick examples, and I will wrap up. Most of us think if we're going to create a legacy, it's in cash. If we're over 45, less than 9% of our assets are in cash. And we'd like to encourage you to things you could do other than cash: stock, cars, income-producing real estate, jewelry, antiques, business interest, etc. So there are a lot of things we can do and strategies. If you don't have a will, you might want to talk about it. If you haven't considered your business, your real estate, and things you can do, you might want to consider talking about it. All right, so we have the next speaker is Blazer Smith, National Christian Foundation. And how long are you going to be up? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, is this on?
It's on.
It's on? Can you hear? Okay, there we go. Okay. My name is Blazer Smith with the National Christian Foundation. That is my wonderful father. Thank you, Albert, and everyone, distinguished guests, for being here. I'm going to keep it as brief as possible. I'm here today to talk about how to maximize your generosity towards Israel in the context of the power of asset gifts. So I'm just going to turn this over here. So I work for the National Christian Foundation. This is not financial advice. This is not tax advice. Simple disclosure. I'm here because Israel has transformed my life. I grew up in an Orthodox Jewish community. I am Christian. But the reality is such that I'm deeply indebted to both the Jewish people as well as really just the scriptures. So when I think about Judaism, I think about my inheritance as a Christian. The reality is such that I'm deeply indebted. I work for the National Christian Foundation, and I help people experience abundance through biblical generosity. So our distinctives are, one, we have a Judeo-Christian faith. We have expertise along the entirety of the giving journey. We connect you to like-minded people that share your values in the context of your faith and heritage. And we are the largest Judeo-Christian grant-making organization. But in the context of some of the things that my dad mentioned, it's really essential. The most important thing, if you don't leave with anything, is these questions. Who owns it all? Part of my journey used to be that I used to think that God was my money manager and I give him 10%. The reality is such that if God owns everything, the question we should be asking is, how much should I keep, not how much should I give? But who owns it all? How much is enough? How much is enough for the kids, and what should we do? This is a context about a giving fund, which I think is really simple and really important. Most of us give through our cash and our income. The reality is such we can give more to causes we care about if we give from our assets. A charitable checking account is one of the most powerful tools that are underutilized in the context of both giving as well as investing. This is a charitable checking account. You put money into it, and then you can simplify your taxes, and you can give more. So it's a very powerful tool. This basically kind of demonstrates the power of that. And so the reality is such, you get one tax receipt for all your giving, you get a tax deduction immediately, and you have the option for anonymity. So this enables asset giving, which enables you to give more to causes you care about. Anything can be gifted. So real estate, jewelry, all these types of assets that we hold that we often don't think of can really maximize the impact that we have, especially if you're going to exit a business. You can save millions of dollars in taxes and give more money to the kingdom in the context of Israel and causes you care about than you would ever think possible. So the power of this is that the reality is when you give an asset, you avoid capital gains and you get a tax deduction as opposed to purely a tax deduction. So the power is giving first, then selling. Or you can give, such as an asset like real estate. Now that real estate is tax-free, all the income that's generated, but the reality of that is that you also get an appreciated asset that you can give more to causes you care about. So anyway, all these different things are kind of conceptual to give you a handle that if you have a passion or a dream, you may be able to realize that more quickly than you would realize in the context of being able to think intentionally about how to give your assets to support Israel. So that is it. I am finished. There's many different things I can talk about, but the real takeaway is, one, a giving fund can simplify and maximize your giving. Two, God owns it all. Three, tax advantage giving via your assets is incredibly powerful. And if you have any questions with me, feel free to contact me. Thank you so much.
One quick thing is we have a number of people, and this is also true, my friends in Israel. There are a ton of folks in Israel who don't have wills. They don't know about a living trust. How about probate? What about giving something away and keeping the income as long as I live? What about transferring my IRA? The other thing most people do, a lot of Christians would never miss tithing, or Israelis as well, 10%. But what about tithing when we die? We just hadn't thought about it. So we have agreed to make available. You have a card at your table. If you'd like to talk about it on a Zoom call, fill it out, put it in the envelope, leave it on the table, and they'll collect it. There is nothing in it for us, but we would like to see you focus on getting your proverbial estate in order, however simple, however modest or large. And if you do that and put it on the table, they'll collect it. We'll schedule a Zoom call with you and talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's not a fundraising, and there's no charge, and there's nothing to sell you. This is an option we're offering the first time to this day. Okay? Thank you, guys. God bless you.